Generally, they're the third Tuesday of every month, from 7 p.m. till whenever they finish. It's usually an hour and a half, 2 hours, sometimes depending on how many people show up and the content. They can go for 2.5 hours, and we promote that or advertise that on the two Facebook pages, so that if the guys aren't paying attention to their emails, or they forget and they're looking at the Facebook, there'll be a prompt on there, usually 96 hours, 4 days in advance or 3 days in advance. It varies, but that's when the notification will come out. And then if you're on the email list that we're currently using, it's a bit dated, but you'll get an email as well. And that's, again, 96 to 72 hours in advance with the link in it, and generally what the content is going to be or the theme of the meeting. The moderator will let everybody into the virtual room at 7 p.m. And then it's sort of a little bit of a free-for-all for the first 5 minutes or so, because people don't always show up right at 7 p.m. They have their own personal lives and they start to drift in. And, we're sort of saying hi to each other or kidding each other or just talking about things off the cuff. And if there's somebody new to the Zoom meeting, the moderator will either introduce them or ask them to introduce themselves and just sort of say, hey, where are you from? What do you collect? What brings you to the meeting today, or whatever. And then from there, the moderator will begin. And he has actually an agenda.
So Paul.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing there? So who are you? Where the heck are you from?
Well, where the hell am I from? I'm from.
You're from England.
You
all
old
those English
England
guys.
Yeah.
You're from England.
No,
Yes.
I'm from Staffordshire, which is the middle of England, middle of the Potteries, Wedgwood, Bode. That's the thing. But I live down in London, which is the toy soldier mecca of the world. So I know which way's east.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Good
so,
to
yeah,
have you on board.
I was at the
Yeah.
British Model Soldier Society auction on Friday, spending money that I clearly don't have for lead that I now clearly do have, actually, which is quite nice. But, and I was happy to shake the hand of Scott when he came over for the Toy Soldier show before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to have you on board, Paul. Yeah. I've got a couple of pieces of news. Actually, both of them are bad news. One is William Hawker. I'm not sure everybody realizes William Hawker. He's basically stopping production. He's not taking on any more new orders at all. He's fulfilling existing orders, and I think at this stage he plans to shut down, which is unfortunate, because I've got a number of the Hawker sets, and there was more that I wanted, but they're just not available now, and he won't take any more orders right now. So that's
he was very fair about this, though. He made this announcement about, I'm going to say, a year and a half ago. That he was shutting down and to put your orders in. So he's just kind of sort of following through now on the actual, shutting down. Primarily, from what I understand, it's a lot of it's to do is he's had the same painters and folks forever, and most of them are retirement age now. He's been at it that long.
Mr. Opie you are fully aware, has written over 9 books on various subjects, including Britons and the Great Britain's book. He has surpassed his 40th year of auctioneering. He would be the personification of what I would call the saying that says you can never have too many toy soldiers. It's my understanding from a source that will remain nameless that he has over 10,000 toy soldiers. It is also my understanding that he has cataloged over 3 million toy soldiers of every type, variety, and composition in his over 40 years as an auctioneer and a consultant. So without further ado, Mr. James Opie.
By way of introducing myself, on the left of this picture, you can see some, many of you may be familiar with this figure because it was very widespread, at least in this country, and it may well be that you have these sort of things over there with you. This row of figures are similar, but not the actual ones that I had given to me by my grandmother's carpenter when I was aged somewhere between 3 and 4 years old.
All right. The last topic, the last club business, and it's about Zoom, is since we had James Opie, we've actually had a couple of proposals about having other guest speakers on our Zoom meetings, because the advantage, of course, is we can get a speaker from anywhere in the world. I mean, we're not limited to to somebody local or anything. Just for a minute to a buy and sell section. I don't know if anybody else has things to buy and sell, but I know Jeff Duncan had a couple of things you were going to offer for sale from the club donations. Is that true, Jeff?
Yeah, thanks. Just actually one item there. So from my awesome collection of Toy Soldier Review magazines. These came through Scott Milburn just last year. Anyways, they're Toy Soldier Review magazine, and there is 37 issues of this, and it ran from roughly 1984 to about 1999 to 2000-ish, and it's only missing actually probably about in total about 4 issues. So this pretty much covered their whole run. It was a fantastic magazine at the time. It basically went out when the internet came on. Pretty much in around 99, 2000, 2001 is when this went out of business. Also, there was, as you recall, in North America here, a really bad recession in the early 1990s. So there's 37 magazines here. They cover every topic, and what's neat is they don't just call your traditional lead toy soldiers. They get into 1/6 figures, paper soldiers, classics like Britain's here, but also all different manufacturers. And it was neat because this covered a heyday of time and called the new renaissance of the new toy soldiers that happened there in the late 80s, early 90s. So this has early stuff from King and Country, Trophy, Miniatures of Wales, a whole bunch of cottage industry people. And if you saw any of the write-ups there we had on the Facebook, it has a lot of neat ads, and the ads had photos where at this time, Robert can attest to, most catalogs are just typewritten lists of things generally, especially from any of the smaller manufacturers. So they're up for auction here, and there's 37 issues, and we're looking, trying to have a reserve of $60. And it also went through, which, and I have no idea James is still on the line, but what was cool is it goes through a lot of the auction results from the 1990s, and the prices are staggering. And when you consider, it's 30 years ago and what the value, and so you get the people today, I'm one of them griping about the price of new toy soldiers, but the price of the old toy soldiers at this time, it was a blocker for a lot of people to get into the hobby because it was so expensive. And now it's kind of almost flip-flop. The old toy soldiers, you can get a little bit more reasonable now, and the new toy soldiers are the more expensive side of things. But anyways, there we go on the line here. So so $60 is what we're looking for. So Robert, you in for $60?
Yeah, I'll start with it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there an advance on 60? Is there an advance from anybody on $60?
Yeah, 65.
$65. All right, and we'll do it in $5 increments. Robert, advance
Yep.
on 65.
Yep.
All right, so we're at 70. So
75.
$75. All right,
Just a
Robert.
minute. Just a minute. I'm trying to
So-
disconnect Eric here.
That's yeah. The one that's in control of the Zoom meeting might have a benefit here. Yeah, so we're at $75. So it's 37 issues. So if there's an accountant on the line, you guys can work out how much that is an issue.
Okay. Yep.
All right, so we're up to $80.
Oh, sure. $100.
$100. All right, holy cow! Here we go.
I should have disconnected them. No, too risky. Iconic cover art and packaging. This is just some of iconic, of course, that's a very generational thing. If James Opie did his iconic cover art and packaging, his would be different than mine, different than new, younger people and everything. Okay, so Mark's Battleground play sets, Mark's play sets, that's just iconic. Always had nice cover art on their sets. Britain's iconic, the red window boxes. Oh my God, yeah, there's still hundreds and hundreds or thousands of them around. Airfix, everybody put together those Airfix plastic figures. Everybody I know. If you're old enough, you'd remember Warriors of the World. They put these out in little Mark's figures, hard plastic, come fully painted. In each one has its own little individual box, custom box. In the box is the figure and a card. And on the back of the card, it's got text describing John Reeves, the drummer.
They're painted by artists: Renoir, Picasso, Matisse. Otto Dix did a great German.
Yeah. So, but that's just for the era. That's an iconic toy soldier. They were very high quality back in the era of the generic Green Army man. These were above and beyond. All right, Airfix. Not going to go big time into Airfix tonight, but here's the first. That's the first production Airfix did in their 1-inch figures. Their combat infantry, a lot of people remember that. This is the first version of the combat infantry, didn't last too long, and then they started going to the second generation boxes, which were the full color art, and even today, the boxes you see still have that cover art, the second generation. There's the first generation German infantry. Steve Hammond, I don't know if you're on, but you brought your 1/6 scale pack anti-tank gun. And remember I said I have hundreds of them? Well, I have hundreds of them because I have them from the Airfix kit. That's the anti-tank gun, the same one. First generation boxes were marvelous because they gave a breakdown of exactly what was in each box. Then the German infantry, they redid the German infantry. Oh, actually, the second generation, they didn't redo them. It's the same first generation infantry in a new box. And then later on, they did change the actual infantry to higher quality moldings. If you couldn't afford Airfix or you came a bit later, everybody got into Matchbox 1-inch figures. Once again, they were iconic boxes of the era. Everybody remembers them. If you were really fancy, and here in Canada, there was actually quite a few of the Atlantic boxes, direct competition to Airfix, nowhere near the volume, of course, or worldwide penetration as Airfix. Then Atlantic, of course, also came out with their iconic larger set boxes. Iconic packaging, Roco mini tanks. This one, oh, this is an older one. See that 79? That one was 79 cents. That was so that was a later one. The newer ones, that one's 10.50. That's still a relatively old price. They're all around $20 now. If you find them, they're no longer wargaming vehicles. They're models. The iconic, their orange packaging was just iconic. These are actually the one they did very few 135th figures. They did the same set in the 187th. I've got the 187th, and I was able to pick up the 135th ones just a while ago. I do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of mini tanks. I'll have a bunch for sale on parade as usual. And mini tanks, that's the iconic box that the dealers would get for quantity, and a few of the mini tanks catalog. Renwall, those of a certain age will remember this whole series of model vehicles. That's just once again what I call an iconic, identifiable at a glance, just from the box art. Now this is a little bit interesting because these guys, they didn't do packaging at all. You could only order them through the comic books. You could get the lovely Roman set. They put all their money into the ads, no money at all into packaging, because by the time you ordered it, they didn't have to glorify the package because you'd already wasted your money. And this was the biggest disappointment for generations and generations of young toy soldier collectors. These are the later ones that were actually three-dimensional. Almost all of these are the iconic comic book flats, and most of them were hard plastic flats, little ugly little guys, and it was a life lesson for several generations of kids.
But actually, when you paint them, they look quite nice. I think I've shown them before.
Yeah, yes, Eric's actually painted some of the flats, and they do look remarkably nice.